The rain-slicked highway stretched like a black vein through the heart of rural Pennsylvania, and Alex Harper's hands clenched the steering wheel so tight his knuckles ached. He'd been driving for hours, the wipers slapping rhythmically against the downpour, but his mind was a storm far worse, replaying the last words Jordan had whispered in the hospital room, breath ragged, eyes already dimming. "Promise me you'll keep fighting, Alex. For us. For what we built." And now, as the taillights of a state trooper cruiser flared red and blue in his rearview mirror, Alex felt the world tilt, his heart slamming against his ribs like it wanted to escape. He pulled over onto the shoulder, gravel crunching under the tires, the engine ticking down to silence. The cop approached slowly, flashlight beam cutting through the sheets of rain, his silhouette broad and unyielding against the storm. Alex rolled down the window, water immediately speckling his face, and forced a smile that felt like cracking glass. "Evening, officer. Everything okay?" The trooper, a man in his 40s with a jaw like carved granite and eyes narrowed under the brim of his hat, leaned in close. "License and registration. You were swerving back there. Driving nervous, like you've got something to hide." His voice carried that flat Midwestern edge, the kind that judged before it asked. Alex's stomach dropped. He knew that tone, had heard it in high school locker rooms, in the sideways glances at the diner where he and Jordan used to steal coffee dates. But tonight, with Jordan's ashes waiting in the urn on the passenger seat beside him, every nerve screamed for him to bolt. He handed over the documents with trembling fingers, the plastic sleeve crinkling. The cop, badge read Sergeant Harlan Reed, scanned them under his light, then flicked his gaze back to Alex. "Harper, that's you? From Pittsburgh?" Alex nodded, throat dry. Harlan's eyes lingered, tracing the faint stubble on Alex's jaw, the rainbow pin on his jacket lapel that he'd forgotten to remove. A bead of silence stretched, heavy as the rain. "Step out of the vehicle, Mr. Harper." "Routine check." Alex's pulse thundered. He unbuckled, legs unsteady as he emerged into the deluge, the wind whipping his button-down shirt against his skin. Harlan shone the light inside the car, methodically, the empty coffee cups from the vigil, the crumpled program from the memorial service, and then, his beam caught on the black garment bag draped across the back seat. The zipper was half open, revealing the crisp lines of a tailored suit, the one Jordan had worn to their first Pride parade together, now folded with care for the burial that loomed tomorrow. Harlan froze, the light steady on the suit. His face shifted, not softening, exactly, but cracking, like thunder yielding to a distant rumble. "That's a funeral suit." It wasn't a question. Alex swallowed hard, rain mixing with the tears he hadn't let fall since the accident. "Yeah, for my partner, Jordan. We lost him 3 days ago. Car wreck on the interstate. I was supposed to meet him there, but traffic." His voice broke, the words tumbling out unbidden. Harlan's jaw tightened, and for a moment, Alex braced for the worst. The scoff, the lecture on lifestyle choices, the dismissal that would gut him all over again. But Harlan straightened, clicking off the flashlight. "Get back in, Mr. Harper. You're good to go." He handed back the papers, his gloved hand brushing Alex's briefly. Accidental, but it lingered in the air like an unspoken apology. As Alex slid into the driver's seat, Harlan cleared his throat. "Drive safe. And I'm sorry for your loss." The cruiser pulled away first, lights off now, vanishing into the storm. Alex sat there, engine idling, the rain a relentless drum on the roof. For the first time in days, he exhaled. But as he merged back onto the highway, a new unease settled in. Why had Harlan's eyes held that flicker of recognition? And what secrets did a man like that carry in his own shadowed past? The miles blurred, the urn a silent companion glowing faintly under the dashboard lights. Alex's thoughts spiraled back to the beginning, to the summer 5 years ago when he'd first laid eyes on Jordan Ellis at a community center in Pittsburgh's East Liberty neighborhood. Alex had been 28, fresh out of a soul-crushing job at a marketing firm that treated him like an afterthought, his queerness a polite footnote in boardroom whispers. He'd volunteered at the center's LGBTQ+ youth program on a whim, needing something, anything, to fill the void left by his family's radio silence after his coming out at 22. Jordan had strolled in late, all easy confidence and sun-kissed skin, his laugh cutting through the awkward icebreakers like sunlight through fog. 25. A graphic designer with a freelance gig that let him chase sunsets. Jordan wore his identity like a badge. Earring glinting, tattoos peeking from his sleeves depicting intertwined vines symbolizing growth amid thorns. Hey, I'm Jordan. And if anyone's got tips on surviving family reunions without losing your mind, I'm all ears. The kids had cracked up, and Alex? He'd felt seen, truly seen, for the first time in years. Their first real conversation happened over lukewarm pizza after the session, the center emptying out around them. Jordan leaned against the counter, popping a pepperoni into his mouth. So, Alex, what's your story? You look like the type who's got a novel's worth of baggage but smiles through it. Alex had laughed, surprised, and spilled. About his parents in Ohio, the Bible verses quoted at the dinner table, the brother who still texted on birthdays but never mentioned that phase. Jordan listened, nodding, his brown eyes steady. My folks are the opposite. Hippie types in Philly threw me a coming-out party with rainbow cake. But the world's not all cake, right? Had a boyfriend in college who bailed when his frat buddies started the jokes. That night, they exchanged numbers, and what started as group texts about program ideas bloomed into late-night calls. Jordan's voice over the phone was a lifeline, teasing, warm, pulling confessions from Alex like threads from a tapestry. By fall, they were dating, stolen kisses in Skinley Park, hands intertwined under cafe tables, building a life thread by thread. Jordan pushed Alex to quit his job, co-signing on a lease for a tiny apartment in Shadyside where they painted the walls teal and hung photos of their adventures. Hikes in the Laurel Highlands, a road trip to Fire Island that ended in a motel with takeout Thai and endless laughter. But love, Alex learned, wasn't a straight path. Jordan's free spirit clashed with Alex's caution. Arguments flared over small things, like Jordan's habit of diving headfirst into activism, while Alex preferred quiet advocacy. You're holding back, babe, Jordan would say, frustration etching his brow. We can't hide forever. Alex would counter, voice tight. I'm not hiding. I'm surviving. Deep down, he feared the world would snatch away what they'd built. The same world that had driven his parents to cut ties, that whispered slurs in parking lots. The first real test came during Pride that year. They marched together, Jordan's arm around Alex's waist, the crowd a roaring sea of color. But as confetti rained down, a group of counter-protesters surged forward, signs hoisted high. God hates fags. One man, red-faced and bellowing, lunged at Jordan, spitting venom. Alex yanked him back, heart pounding, but the damage lingered. That night, in their apartment, Jordan paced, fists clenched. See? That's why we fight, not hide. Alex pulled him close, murmuring apologies into his hair, but the seed of doubt took root. Could he ever be brave enough for this? Winter brought fragile peace. They adopted a rescue mutt named Riley, a scruffy terrier who became their furry mediator, curling between them during spats. Holidays were theirs alone, no family invites, just a menorah from Jordan's Jewish heritage beside a Christmas tree strung with LED lights. Alex's parents sent a card and signed. Jordan's called with video updates, their voices a balm. In those quiet moments, wrapped in blankets on the couch, Alex believed they could weather anything. Spring unfurled with promise. Jordan landed a big client, designing logos for a queer-owned bookstore chain. Alex started his own consulting gig, helping small businesses with inclusive marketing. They talked future, maybe a house in the suburbs, adoption papers one day. But shadows crept in. Jordan's best friend, Miah, a trans woman who'd been like a sister, confided over beers one night that she'd been harassed at work. It's everywhere, Alex. The looks, the whispers. Jordan's too optimistic. He thinks love conquers all. Alex hugged her tight, but her words echoed, stirring his old fears. Then came the accident. It was a Tuesday, ordinary as rain. Jordan texted at noon. Lunch date later? Miss your face. Alex replied with a heart emoji buried in a client call. By evening, the hospital rang. Jordan's car hydroplaned on black ice outside Harrisburg, slamming into a guardrail. The driver who'd swerved into his lane? A local pastor, late for a sermon, who claimed Jordan drove erratic, like he was distracted. Witnesses said otherwise, but the investigation dragged, whispers of lifestyle biasing the reports. Alex arrived at the ER in a daze, Miah sobbing in the waiting room. Machines beeped, then flatlined. Jordan's hand, cold in his, as the doctor murmured condolences. The days blurred. Funeral planning, media inquiries from queer outlets hungry for a story of injustice. Alex fielded calls from Jordan's family, their grief laced with questions. Was he careful? Driving alone like that? Miah rallied friends for a vigil, candles flickering outside the precinct demanding answers. Now, on this rain-lashed road to the cemetery in Lancaster, where Jordan's ashes would join his grandparents, Alex carried it all. The suit in the back seat wasn't just fabric, it was their history. The night Jordan proposed they move in, the cufflinks engraved with intertwined A's and J's. Harlan's unexpected kindness replayed in his mind, a puzzle piece out of place. Why the sympathy from a cop who looked every inch the small-town enforcer? As dawn broke gray over the horizon, Alex pulled into a rest stop, Riley's leash in one hand, urn in the other. He let the dog sniff the wet grass, then sat on a bench, scrolling through old photos. One caught him, Jordan mid-laugh at a county fair, cotton candy smeared on his cheek. Tears came then, hot and unbidden. A trucker nodded from afar, no judgment in his eyes. Small mercies. But the drive resumed, and with it, the gnawing sense that this wasn't over. Jordan's death was an accident alone. Emails from Miah hinted at deeper rot, the pastor's history of anti-LGBTQ sermons, ties to local watch groups. Alex gripped the wheel tighter. For us, Jordan had said, he'd fight. Little did he know, Sergeant Harlan Reed was fighting his own battles, ones that would collide with Alex's in ways neither could foresee. The cemetery gates loomed like iron sentinels under a sky still bruised from the night's storm, wrought iron filigree dripping with leftover rain. Alex parked the sedan carefully, as if any jolt might disturb the urn cradled on the seat beside him. Riley whined softly from the back, sensing the weight of the moment, his tail thumping tentatively against the leather. Alex reached back to scratch his ears. It's okay, boy. We're here for him. But nothing felt okay. The air hummed with the low murmur of gathering mourners. Jordan's family from Philly, Miah with her cluster of activist friends, a smattering of center volunteers clutching soggy programs. He stepped out, slinging the garment bag over his shoulder, the suit inside heavy as regret. The ground squelched under his boots as he navigated the path to the plot, a modest rectangle of earth edged in fresh sod. Jordan's parents, Ellen and David, stood arm in arm, Ellen's eyes red-rimmed but fierce. She pulled Alex into a hug that smelled of lavender and loss. You made it. He would have been glad. David clapped his shoulder, gruff but genuine. Drive was rough. Saw the weather reports. Alex nodded, throat tight. Yeah, got pulled over halfway. Thought it was the end of a bad night. He didn't elaborate. No need to burden them with the cop's scrutiny. Miah arrived then, her locks tied back, wearing a black blazer over a shirt emblazoned with Jordan's smiling face. Part of the shirt's printed for the vigil. Alex, you look like hell. Here, coffee. She thrust a thermos into his hands, black and steaming. Her eyes searched his. Any news on the investigation? Nothing solid. Cops say it's pending witness statements. Alex sipped, the bitterness grounding him. Mia's jaw set. That pastor's alibi is airtight. Prayer meeting my ass. I've got a PI friend digging. Jordan deserves justice. The service began as the clock tower chimed 10, a rabbi from the local synagogue leading prayers in a voice that wove Hebrew with English, honoring Jordan's mixed heritage. Eulogies followed, Ellen recounting his childhood pranks, David praising his artist's soul. Miah spoke next, voice steady. Jordan wasn't just kind, he was a force. He loved fiercely, fought harder. And he loved Alex, like the sun loves the sky, endless and unapologetic. Alex's turn came last. He unfolded a crumpled paper, words blurring. Jordan saw me when I couldn't see myself. He taught me bravery isn't absence of fear, it's choosing love anyway. Through every storm, he was my anchor. He glanced at the urn, silver and etched with vines. I promise, I'll carry that forward. Applause rippled, soft and sorrowful. As the rabbi lowered the urn into the earth, Alex scattered the first handful of soil, grains dark and final. Afterward, the crowd thinned, relatives drifting to cars with promises of casseroles and calls. Miah lingered, linking arms with Alex. Potluck at my place tonight. Debrief. Vent, whatever. He hesitated. Exhaustion tugged like lead weights, but nodded. Yeah, Riley needs a run anyway. They parted with a squeeze, and Alex wandered the grounds alone, Riley trotting at his heels. Gravestones whispered histories, faded names, etched dates. One caught his eye, a weathered marker for Elias Reed, 1942 to 2018, beloved father. Reed. Like the cop. Coincidence, or? Back on the road by noon, the highway unspooling toward Pittsburgh, Alex's phone buzzed. Unknown number. He answered on speaker, Riley's head in his lap. Mr. Harper? This is Sergeant Harlan Reed, Pennsylvania State Police. From last night. Alex's grip tightened, a chill spidering down his spine. Yeah, what can I do for you? A pause, papers rustling. About the stop. I reviewed the dash cam. You weren't swerving, it was shadows from the rain. My mistake. Another beat. Heard about the funeral. Saw the obituary in the local paper. Your partner, Jordan Ellis. I'm sorry. Alex's breath hitched. How had he known? Appreciate it. Rough morning. Harlan cleared his throat. Listen, this might sound out of line, but that accident? The one involving the Reverend? I'm lead on the interstate cases. Something doesn't add up. The pastor's statement says Jordan cut him off, but forensics show otherwise. Brake marks don't lie. Alex's heart stuttered. You're investigating? On your own. Not on my own. But small towns, you know how it is. Politics. Harlan's voice dropped, edged with something raw. My brother was Elias. The grave you might have passed. He was, like you, lost him to a hate crime back in '98. Never solved. The words landed like stones in still water. Alex pulled over, engine humming. I'm sorry. That's, God, Harlan. Call me Reed. Look, if you want updates, I can loop you in. Off record. Alex stared at the urn, now tucked in the back with the suit. Jordan's fight, echoing in this stranger's grief. Yeah, text me your number. And Reed, thanks. For last night. The call ended, and Alex sat, processing. A cop with a buried wound, reaching across the divide. It felt like a crack in the armor of the world, light seeping through. But trust came slow. He'd learned that the hard way. Home was a second-story walk-up in Bloomfield, the kind of place where fire escapes doubled as patios and neighbors blasted salsa on weekends. Alex let Riley loose in the postage stamp yard, then hauled the urn inside, placing it on the mantel beside Jordan's sketchpad, pages still open to half-finished designs. The apartment echoed, teal walls mocking the emptiness, their shared mugs on the shelf gathering dust. He showered off the cemetery chill, emerging to Mia's knock. The potluck sprawled across her living room 2 blocks away. Trays of lasagna, vegan wings, bottles of Pinot sweating on the coffee table. 24 faces, a tapestry of the community, drag queens in subtle morning makeup, allies with love wins, pins, youth from the center wide-eyed and grieving. Toasts were raised. To Jordan, the spark. Stories flowed. His impromptu karaoke at last year's holiday party, the way he'd mentor teens with gentle wisdom. Alex nursed a beer, cornered by Mia's PI friend, a wiry woman named Lena with a notebook tattooed on her forearm. Got prelims on the pastor, Reverend Caleb Thorne. History of complaints, harassment at rallies, donations to conversion camps. And get this, his son's on the force, junior deputy in Lancaster County. Alex's eyes narrowed. Cover up. Possible. But Reed's name popped in old files. His brother's case? Thorne preached at the funeral, called it divine justice. Lena's gaze sharpened. You talked to him yet? Alex nodded, recounting the call. She whistled low. Ally or opportunist. Watch your back. As night deepened, laughter mingled with tears, the group a bulwark against isolation. A young man, barely 20, approached Alex shyly. Jordan helped me come out last year. Said you two were proof it gets better. Alex's chest ached, but he smiled. It does. Some days. The kid hugged him, quick and fierce. By midnight, the crowd ebbed, leaving Alex and Miah on the fire escape, city lights twinkling below. You gonna pursue this? She asked, passing a joint he declined. The truth. Alex stared at the stars, faint through light pollution. For Jordan? Yeah, but it's bigger than us now. Sleep came fitful that night, dreams tangled. Jordan's laugh morphing into sirens, Harlan's face blurring with Thorne's sneer. Morning brought a text from Reed. Forensics report attached. Call of questions. Alex downloaded it, heart racing at the diagrams. Tire tracks veering, not Jordan's fault. A breadcrumb trail. He spent the day sorting Jordan's things, each item a memory grenade. The leather jacket from their anniversary, the playlist on vinyl of queer anthems. Riley nosed a photo album, pages sticking to paws. Flipping through, Alex lingered on one from their road trip, pulled over for a flat tire, Jordan grinning dirt-smeared, Alex laughing in defeat. Irony bit deep. Afternoon brought an unexpected visitor. Ellen, Jordan's mom, on the doorstep with a pie tin. David's at a meeting. Thought you'd need feeding. They sat at the kitchen table, pie cooling between them. She studied him, lines deepening. You loved him, right, Alex? That's what matters. He nodded, words failing. The suit, you buried him in it. Yeah, his favorite. She smiled faintly. He looked sharp in it. Like the day he brought you home. As she left, another knock. Reed, in plain clothes, jeans and a flannel that softened his edges. Passing through. Thought in person might be better. They talked for hours, coffee brewing, Riley at their feet. Reed opened up haltingly. Elias, outed in high school, beaten by friends, Thorne had mentored. I was straight, married young, but it broke me. Divorced now, kids off at college. His eyes met Alex's, vulnerable. Seeing that suit reminded me I let Elias down. Alex reached across, hand on arm. You can make it right now. Alliance forged in grief, fragile but real. But as Reed left, Alex's phone lit with a blocked call, voicemail terse. Back off, Harper, or you'll join him. The line crackled with menace. The fight had found him. The threat hung like smoke in the apartment, acrid and invisible, seeping into every corner as Alex replayed the voicemail on loop. The voice was distorted, gravelly. Could be anyone, but the venom pointed straight to Thorne's orbit. He forwarded it to Reed immediately, fingers flying over the screen. Got this after you left. Coincidence. Reed's reply buzzed back swift. Save it for evidence. Stay put. I'll run traces. But staying put felt like surrender, and Alex Harper had promised Jordan more than that. He paced the living room, Riley trailing with worried whines, the urn on the mantel a silent judge. Outside, Pittsburgh stirred to life, horns blaring on Liberty Avenue, the pulse of a city that had cradled their love now echoing hollow. Miah called mid-morning, voice sharp. Heard from Lena, the pastor's son's been tailing queer bars. Intimidation tactic. Alex gripped the phone. And the threat. Just got it. Silence, then her curse. Meeting tonight. Center, 7 sharp. We're organizing. The community center buzzed with urgency when Alex arrived. Folding chairs scraped into a circle under fluorescent hum. 30 souls packed the room. Veterans of Stonewall-era marches rubbing elbows with Gen Z firebrands, faces etched with shared fury. Miah stood at a whiteboard, markers squeaking as she outlined timelines. The accident. Thorne's sermon decrying sodomite perils days before. This isn't random. It's targeted. Jordan was vocal. He called out that church's funding for hate groups last month. Nods rippled, murmurs building. A burly man in a union jacket, Tom from the Steelworkers Queer Caucus, leaned forward. My crew's in. Protests, petitions, whatever it takes. A non-binary teen, Kai, piped up shyly. Social media blast? Hashtag justice for Jordan. Ideas cascaded, a dam breaking. Alex spoke last, voice steady despite the tremor in his chest. He fought with words, with art. Let's honor that. Not with rage, but resolve. The room erupted in agreement, hands clapping his back. As they dispersed into work groups, Lena pulled Alex aside, her notebook open to scribbled notes. Reed's legit, checked his file. Clean, commendations for bias training. But Thorne's got pull. County commissioner's his golf buddy. She tapped a photo taped inside. Thorne, smug in clerical collar, arm around a deputy. Son's name, Dylan. Busted for assault last year, charges dropped. Alex's stomach knotted. We expose it. Night fell heavy, streetlights casting long shadows as Alex walked home, collar up against the chill. His phone vibrated. Read again. Trace incomplete, but local exchange. Watcher 6. Paranoia prickled. Every parked car seemed suspect. Inside, he double-bolted the door, then sank onto the couch, pulling up Jordan's videos, grainy clips of them dancing in the kitchen to Chapel Roan, Jordan's hips swaying, Alex's laughter shy. "Miss you," he whispered to the screen. Sleep evaded, chased by what-ifs. What if he'd insisted Jordan wait for him that day? What if the world hadn't hardened him into caution? Dawn crept in with coffee and resolve. He texted Miah, drafting a statement. For the press. Her thumbs-up emoji was immediate. By noon, words flowed onto his laptop. Raw, unfiltered. Jordan's light, the crash's injustice, a call to dismantle the bigotry that killed him. He hit send to a reporter at the Post-Gazette, heart pounding. The article dropped that afternoon, headline blazing. Loved one's fiery crash sparks questions of bias in rural PA. Shares exploded across queer networks. Comments a torrent of support laced with vitriol from trolls. Alex's inbox flooded. Offers of legal aid, interview requests, one from a national advocacy group. But amid the noise, a private message from an anonymous account. "Truth hurts, doesn't it? Stay away from Reed. He's got skeletons." Attached, a grainy photo of young Harlan, arm around a man in a bar, both laughing, timestamped 1995. Elias? Alex's breath caught. Blackmail fodder? Or a warning of fractures within? He forwarded to Reed, who called instantly. "That's my brother. Fake account, but yeah, it's bait." His voice cracked, rare vulnerability slipping through. "Elias and we were close. After he died, I buried it all. Joined the force to fix things, but small steps." Alex softened. "You're doing it now? With this?" Their conversation meandered, barriers crumbling. Reed shared stories of Elias's wit, his hidden poetry notebooks. Alex countered with Jordan's sketches, the way he'd doodle hearts on napkins. "Grief's a thief," Reed said quietly. "Steals the air, but leaves echoes." For the first time, Alex felt kinship, not pity, but parody. Two men, scarred by loss, stitching wounds with tentative threads. But peace shattered that evening. A knock, insistent, knuckles rapping like judgment. Alex peered through the peephole. Dylan Thorne, deputy uniform crisp, face a mask of false concern. "Mr. Harper?" Routine follow-up on the threats. "Bullshit." Alex cracked the door, chain-latched. "At 9 p.m.? Save it." Dylan's smile didn't reach his eyes, blue and cold as steel. "Heard you're stirring trouble. Dad says you're grieving wrong, making accusations." He leaned in, breath sour. "Drop it, or Riley here gets a midnight walk he won't come back from." The dog growled low from the hall. Alex's blood iced. "Get off my porch. Now." Dylan chuckled, stepping back. "Your call, Fairy." The slur landed like a slap, but Alex slammed the door, leaning against it, breaths ragged. He dialed Reed. Voicemail be damned. "Thorne's kid just threatened me." In uniform. Reed arrived 20 minutes later, face thunderous, cruiser idling curbside. "Bastard. I'll file the report myself." They sat at the kitchen table, Reed's pen scratching details, Alex recounting every word. Proximity bred confession. Reed's hand brushed Alex's over the notepad, lingering. "You're brave, Harper. Braver than I was for Elias." Alex met his gaze, green on hazel, a spark igniting, not flame, but ember. "We're in this together now." Word spread fast. By morning, Mia's group had amplified the encounter online, Justice for Jordan trending locally. Protests brewed. A vigil outside Thorne's church, signs demanding his resignation. Reporters swarmed the center, mics thrust at Alex during his volunteer shift. "Is this about homophobia?" one asked, notebook poised. He paused, Jordan's face flashing in mind. "It's about accountability. Love shouldn't be a death sentence." But twists lurked. Lena texted mid-afternoon, dug deeper on Reed. Divorced wife? Left him for her yoga instructor. But get this, Elias's case file? Reed closed it prematurely. Pressure from above. Doubt flickered. Ally or architect? Alex confronted him over takeout that night, Chinese cartons steaming between them. The file, why rush it? Reed's fork stilled, eyes dropping. "I was green, 25. Thorne's influence. I caved. Regret it every day." Tears welled, unashamed. Thought burying it buried the pain. Wrong. Alex searched his face, seeing mirrors of his own regrets, the hesitations that cost Jordan time. "Then unbury it. Help us now." Reed nodded, wiping his sleeve. I will. Starting with Dylan's badge. Their hands met again, deliberate this time, a pact sealed in shared resolve. Outside, rain pattered anew, but inside, a fragile warmth bloomed. Yet the anonymous messages persisted, escalating. Photos of Alex's building, timestamps from hours ago. Stalker or strategy? As he locked up for bed, phone in hand, a final ping. Reed's using you. Check the old cabin. Attached coordinates, deep in Allegheny woods. Bait or breakthrough. Alex lay awake. Riley curled close, the line between hunter and hunted blurring. Morning brought clarity. He'd go, but not alone. Text to Miah, field trip. Bring backup. The fight deepened, roots entwining past and present. The Allegheny National Forest swallowed the road whole, a labyrinth of pine and mist where cell signals frayed like old rope. Alex gripped the wheel of Mia's borrowed Jeep, her in the passenger seat with a thermos of spiked coffee, Lena navigating from the back via a battered laptop. Riley rode shotgun in spirit, left home with a neighbor, safer that way. This better not be a wild goose chase, Miah grumbled, but her eyes gleamed with the thrill of the hunt. Or a trap, Lena added, tapping coordinates. Cabins off-grid, owned by a Shell Corp Thorn Links. Possible, Alex said, voice tight. The anonymous tip had gnawed overnight. Dreams of Jordan's crash morphing into cabin horrors, shadowy figures, accusations hurled. But doubt Reed? After last night's raw honesty? No. This was about flushing the cinder, turning predator to prey. Reed waited at the trailhead, unmarked car tucked behind ferns, his nod grim as they piled out. Track the messages, burner phone, but IP traces to Lancaster. Thorn's parish Wi-Fi. They hiked single file, boots crunching leaf mold, the air thick with damp earth and unspoken tensions. Reed brought up the rear, rifle slung casual. Precaution, he claimed. Conversation stuttered. Miah quizzing him on police protocol, Lena jotting notes, Alex stealing glances back, reading reassurance in his steady stride. Half a mile in, the cabin emerged, sagging porch, windows boarded like blind eyes, vines clawing the siding. Looks abandoned, Miah whispered. Reed tested the door, creaking open to dust motes dancing in slanted light. Inside, a time capsule of decay, faded newspapers from '98, a stone fireplace choked with ash, photos pinned to walls yellowing with age. Elias stared from one, younger Harlan beside him, arms slung easy. Alex's chest tightened, ghosts in monochrome. This is, he asked softly. Reed nodded, throat working. Family retreat. After. I couldn't come back. Lena rifled drawers, unearthing a ledger. Names, dates, some's inked cryptic. Donations? To what? Reed scanned a page, face paling. Hate groups. Thorn's signature here, funded rallies post Elias. Proof, damning and dusty. Miah snapped photos, flash stark. But as Alex turned to a shadowed corner, something glinted, a modern phone, discarded on a shelf, screen cracked but alive. He snatched it, powering on. Unlocked, messages queued. The threats to him, plus chains to Dylan. Harper's digging. Reed's soft spot. Burn it. Heart slamming. Alex held it up. Jackpot. Reed's eyes darkened. Enough for warrants. Elation surged, but Miah froze, peering out a grimy window. Heads up, company. Tires crunched distant, growing louder. They bolted out the back, ducking into underbrush as a pickup barreled up, Dylan Thorn at the wheel, two burly shadows in tow. Search it, Dylan barked, voice carrying. That queer and his cop buddy sniffed too close. The men piled in, rummaging clumsy. Reed's hand found Alex's in the ferns, squeeze urgent. When they split, we tail. Minutes stretched eternal, branches digging ribs, breaths held. The goons emerged empty-handed, Dylan cursing. Torch it. No traces. A match flared, flames licking dry wood, smoke billowing acrid. As the truck peeled away, the group emerged, coughing, Reed on radio. Dispatch, structure fire, coordinates. But flames spread greedy. They retreated, watching history burn. Back at the trailhead, adrenaline crashed. Miah hugged Alex fierce. We got the phone. That's gold. Lena grinned. Upload secured. Reed clapped Alex's shoulder, gaze lingering. You okay? Up close, rain-damp hair curling at his temples. He looked human, flawed, fierce. Yeah, thanks to you. A beat, charged, Mia's eyebrow arched, but she busied with the laptop. The drive back was debrief. Phone data to forensics. Cabin fire reported anonymous. But undercurrents swirled. Reen's buried guilt unearthed. Alex's resolve hardened. At a diner off I-80, burgers cooling untouched, Reed opened further. Elias wanted to leave Lancaster. Said the town's poison. I convinced him to stay, fix it from inside. Cost him everything. Alex pushed fries his way. You're fixing now? We all are. Mia's phone lit with alerts. Protests swelling. Thorne's church picketed. National news sniffing the bias angle. We're viral, she crowed. But joy tempered. Jordan's absence loomed, a hollow in the victory. That night, alone, Alex lit a candle by the urn, whispering updates. We're close, babe. Hold on. Twists accelerated. Next morning, a package arrived. No cinder, brown paper crinkled. Inside, Elias's poetry notebook, salvaged somehow, pages dog-eared. Tucked in back, a letter, Reed's script. Found this in my locker years ago. Meant for you. Knew you'd understand. Poems spilled. Odes to stolen kisses. Rage at the closet's cage. Alex read till tears blurred ink, then called. It's beautiful. He was. Reed's voice roughened. Yeah, like Jordan. Silence stretched, intimate. Dinner? My place. No shop talk. Alex hesitated, grief's boundary blurred, but agreed. Reed's home was a modest rancher in Fox Chapel, bookshelves groaning with true crime and civil rights tomes, a photo of his daughter, now 18, beaming from grad night. Pasta simmered, wine poured, conversation flowed easy, favorite films, Reed. Broke back, sheepish, Alex, Moonlight, nodding. Pet peeves, small-town gossip for both. Dessert brought depth, Reed's divorce, wife's resentment of his obsession with Elias's case. Pushed her away. Alex shared his parents' estrangement, the Christmas cards and signed sting. Jordan bridged it, made family what we chose. Hands brushed over tiramisu, electric. Reed's thumb traced Alex's knuckle, question in his eyes. Alex leaned in, lips meeting soft, hesitant, then sure. Not rebound, but recognition. Two hearts, mended in tandem. But dawn brought backlash. Thorne's sermon leaked online, railing against perverts and their cop enablers. Protesters clashed outside the church, arrests made, Kai among them, zip-tied for chanting. Alex bailed him out, kid's face bruised but defiant. For Jordan, Kai said, guilt twisted. Had he sparked this fire? Worse, internal affairs called Reed in, whispers of misconduct, fraternizing with witnesses. He texted Alex, suspension pending. Worth it. Doubt crept anew, but Alex quashed it. They met in neutral ground, a park bench at dusk, Riley off-leash chasing squirrels. Fight it, Alex urged. Reed smile wry. Already am. Got the DA's ear now. As stars pricked the sky, a figure watched from shadows. Dylan, phone raised, snapping pics. The net tightened, but so did their bond. Alex pocketed the notebook, poems a talisman. The storm raged on, but light pierced. Suspension hit Reed like a demotion to the shadows. His badge surrendered in a sterile precinct office where fluorescent buzz mocked his clipped, "Yes, sir." Chief Mallory, a barrel-chested relic with a mustache like steel wool, leaned back. Fraternizing Harlan? With the victim's partner? Looks bad. Reed met his gaze level. It's personal, but clean. The phone evidence, it's Thorne. Mallory's eyes narrowed. Politics, son. Commissioners breathing down my neck. Reed left with a cardboard box of desk flotsam, gut churning, but fire unquenched. He drove straight to Alex's. Arriving as dusk painted the skyline bruised purple. Alex met him at the door, concern etching his brow. What happened? Inside, over reheated lasagna, Reed unpacked, literal and figurative. Desk duty, maybe worse. But the DA's reviewing the phone logs. Dylan's toast. Alex's hand covered his, warm anchor. Proud of you. Riley nosed between, demanding pets, lightening the air. They talked strategy. Mia's legal fund swelling via GoFundMe, protests planned for Harrisburg Capitol. But intimacy wove in, shared silences on the couch, heads on shoulders, the poetry notebook open between. Elias's words resonated. In the quiet after thunder, love rebuilds what hate tore down. Reed traced a line, voice low. He'd like you. Alex smiled soft. Ditto for Jordan. A kiss followed, deeper now, grief transmuting to grace. Not replacement, but renewal, two survivors finding footing together. Morning fractured the idyll. News vans clogged Bloomfield streets, reporters hammering Alex's buzzer. Comment on the cop scandal? He stonewalled, but online inferno raged, trolls dubbing him grief widow gold digger, allies defending fierce. Miah burst in mid-coffee, laptop aflame. Thorne's countersuing for defamation. Claims were persecution porn. Alex's laugh barked bitter. Let him. Truth's our weapon. The courthouse loomed that week. Preliminary hearing a circus of suits and stares. Alex testified first, voice steady recounting the crash call, the threats, Dylan's porch menace. Jurors leaned in, faces a mix, sympathy, skepticism. Thorne took the stand, Bible in hand, painting Jordan as troubled soul, reckless driver. Gasps rippled, Mia's fist clenched under the table. Reed, in the gallery, eyes locked on Alex, support silent but steel. Cross-examination turned brutal. Thorne's lawyer, slick as oil, probing Alex's relationship. Intimate partners? Living in sin, by some lights. Objection sustained, but damage lingered, jurors shifting. Then Reed's turn. Called as witness, suspension be damned. He detailed forensics, the cabin ledger, phone texts linking Dylan to intimidation. This isn't grief, it's cover-up. Thorne blustered, but cracks showed, sweat beading, gaze darting. Recess brought chaos, protesters chanting outside, countersigns waving family values. A scuffle erupted, Tom the union guy shoving a red-hatted zealot. Alex pulled him back, heart racing. Not like this. Inside, Reed found him in a hallway, thumb brushing cheek. Holding, Alex nodded, leaning into the touch. For you. Verdict loomed days later. Injunction denied. Thorne's suit dismissed. Dylan suspended pending IA probe. Cheers erupted in the center that night. Beer flowing. Toasts to Jordan's ghost. Kai, bandage on his brow from the fray, raised a glass. We did it. But Miah pulled Alex aside, eyes grave. Not over. Thorne's preaching fire. Hints at retaliation from God. Chills prickled. Deeper cuts came personal. Alex's parents called. First in years, Ohio number flashing. His mom, voice quavering. Saw the news. Sorry about everything. Dad grunted background. Proud son. Standing tall. Tears pricked. Bridges, rickety, but rebuilding. He shared snippets with Reed over a quiet dinner, his rancher aglow with candles. First step. Reed clinked glasses. To steps. But shadows lengthened. Reed's IA hearing unearthed dirt. Not his, but Elias's file. Suppressed witness statements. Thorne's donation to the department fund. Mallory grilled him. You buried it then. Now you dig? Reed fired back. Evolving, sir. Suspension lifted, but trust fractured. Whispers in the bullpen, sidelong glances. Alex felt the strain too. Anonymous emails escalated. Doctored photos of him and Reed kissing. Captioned, cop corrupted. Leaked to tabloids. Headlines screamed, badge of dishonor. Protests turned on Reed. Picket lines at the precinct. Justice, not romance. Alex confronted him in the park, Riley splashing in the fountain. Is it worth it? Reed's face crumpled. You are. But if it's hurting. No. Alex cupped his jaw. We face it. Their kiss defiant, paparazzi be damned. But doubt seated. Was love the spark or the fuse? Climax brewed in Lancaster, Thorne's megachurch a coliseum of stained glass and simmering hate. The final protest swelled, 100 strong, rainbow flags snapping in wind, counterlines jeering. Alex spoke from a flatbed truck, megaphone trembling. Jordan died for being who he was. We live for it. Cheers drowned jeers. Reed flanked security, uniform crisp, eyes scanning threats. Chaos ignited. A bottle sailed from the crowd, shattering at Alex's feet, glass shards flying. He staggered, ankle twisting, pain lancing. Reed lunged, shielding, as scuffle spread, fists flying, sirens wailing. Dylan in the melee, badge hidden, tackling Tom. Alex hit the deck, World spinning, Reed's arms around him. Got you. Medics patched him curbside, sprain, cuts superficial. But the hall, 20 arrests, Dylan unmasked, cuffed amid flashes. Thorne emerged, flanked by lawyers, face purple. This is war on faith. Media swarmed, narrative flipping. Hate groups thug, not heroes. Victory tasted bittersweet. Back in Pittsburgh, Alex iced his ankle on Reed's couch, Riley licking salt from his hand. Close call. Reed knelt, bandaging gentle. Too close. Confession spilled. Scared me. Losing you like Elias. Alex pulled him up, foreheads touching. Not losing. Twists lingered. Lena uncovered the shell corp. Thorns, funneling funds to anti-LGBTQ PACs. DA indicted. Fraud, conspiracy. But a letter arrived for Alex. Thorne's hand, prison-bound. You win this round. But God's judgment waits. Venom, but toothless. Healing began slow. Alex's parents visited. Awkward lunch at Permante's, sandwiches piled high. Conversations tentative. We were wrong, Mom admitted. Dad nodded. Love's love. Tears flowed, forks paused. Reed met them later, handshake firm. Taking care of him. Approval earned, quiet. Community mended too. Center expansion funded by donations. Youth program renamed Jordan's Light. Alex volunteered daily, stories shared. His with Reed a beacon, cautious but bright. Yet one final surprise. In Jordan's sketchpad, a hidden page, drawing of Alex old, gray-haired, happy beside a faceless man. Note scrawled. Whoever he is, love him fierce. Alex showed Reed, tears shared. Permission granted. The storm passed, skies clearing. Love, resilient, bloomed anew. Months folded like pages in a well-worn book, summer's heat yielding to autumn's crisp bite, leaves carpeting Pittsburgh's streets in gold and crimson. The charges against Thorne and Dylan stuck. Conspiracy, evidence tampering, sentences handed down in a courtroom packed with allies, justice a gavel's crack echoing long. Alex watched from the front row, Reed's hand in his under the bench, a quiet anchor amid the flashbulbs. Thorne's glare as he shuffled out an orange? Fuel for nightmares, but fading. Life reshaped itself, mosaic from shards. Alex's consulting biz boomed, clients queuing for his inclusive edge, irony not lost. The queer consultant once deemed unmarketable. He hired Kai part-time, the kid's social savvy a whirlwind. Together, they launched a podcast, Echoes of Us, survivors' tales raw and real. Miah guested first, laughing through tears. Jordan would have hated the mic, loved the message. Reed climbed ranks, bias training his pet project, workshops drawing cops statewide. Elias's legacy, he'd say, but Alex saw the man emerging, less granite, more heart. Theirs was a rhythm learned slow, date nights at dive bars, trivia wins crowning them queer icons, weekends hiking Ohio Pile, Riley bounding ahead, leashes optional. Intimacy deepened, not fireworks, but hearth fire, steady warm. Conflicts lingered, subtle thorns. Reed's ex called once, custody tweaks for their daughter, Lily, now visiting, a whirlwind of college tales and piercings. She grilled Alex over pancakes. Dad says you're the real deal. Prove it. He did, with dad jokes and trail mix bribes. Her hug at departure? Seal of approval. But old wounds surfaced. A bar spat with a drunk trooper muttering slurs, Reed's fist clenching. Alex pulled him away. Not worth the badge. Lesson echoed Jordan's. Choose love. Misunderstandings tested too. Miah, ever the protector, cornered Alex post-hike. Reed's solid, but you're rebounding, right? Jordan's shadow. Hurt flared. It's not shadow, it's light he left. They talked it out over wine, tears and toasts mending the rift. Friendships evolved. Tom's union backing center events. Lena's PI firm pro bono for queer cases. Surprises sprinkled joy. A letter from Thorne's estranged sister, outing herself as bi, thanking Alex for cracking the family's facade. Or the rainbow mural unveiled downtown, Jordan's face stylized amid vines, dedication reading, fighter, lover, forever. Alex traced the bricks, Reed beside. He'd pose for selfies here. Climaxes came internal now. Alex's first family Thanksgiving, parents flying in, table groaning under turkey and tension. Dad's prayer inclusive, Mom's pie gluten-free for Miah. Laughter 1, awkwardness thawing. Reed carved, easy in the fold. Family, he murmured later, arms around Alex on the porch. Stars wheeled overhead, vast and kind. Winter blanketed the city, first snow dusting the apartment like powdered sugar. They hosted solstice. Misfit crew crammed cozy, candles flickering, stories swapped. Kai debuted a poem, voice cracking sweet. Lily FaceTime cheers. As midnight tolled, Alex pulled Reed to the fire escape, city aglow below. Grateful, he whispered. Reed's kiss tasted of eggnog and promise. For this. But depth demanded shadows. Anniversaries ached. Jordan's birthday, a quiet cemetery visit. Alex scattering petals, Reed waiting respectful distance. Talk to him, he urged. Words poured. Updates, confessions, found someone who gets it. Wind carried them, urn glinting frost-kissed. Reed's demons surfaced too. Elias's would-be anniversary, bottle of scotch half empty on the rancher counter. Alex found him staring at photos, eyes hollow. Broke my heart first, Reed admitted. Pushed everyone after. Alex knelt, hands framing face. Not me. We're mending. They cried together, release cathartic, then made love slow, bodies mapping scars, souls intertwining. Spring heralded rebirth, Center's garden bloom, Jordan's plot vibrant with perennials. Alex proposed a scholarship fund, Reed co-chairing. Applications flooded. Kids like young Jordan, dreams deferred by doubt. First recipient, a trans teen from Erie, eyes wide at the check. For fighters, Alex said, hugging tight. Twists turned tender. Reed's knee, proposal need in the park, rings simple silver band engraved echoes. Alex's yes breathless, Riley barking approval. Wedding small, backyard affair, Miah officiating in sequence, parents toasting teary. Vows wove pasts. Through storms and suits, I choose you. Years spun. Lily's wedding, Alex walking her, Reed beaming dad. Their own kid, adopted, a boy named Elias Jordan. Eli, towhead terror with Jordan's laugh. Family holidays full now, noise a symphony. Reflections came on drives. Highways unspooling like veins healed. That rainy pullover? Fate's hook, reeling them to truth. Prejudices cracked, not shattered, work eternal. But love? Deep as roots, fierce as thorns. Alex glanced at Reed, hand on thigh, Eli napping rear. Worth the nervous drive. Reed grinned. Every mile. In the rear view, Ghost smiled. Jordan, Elias, whispering onward. Life, gay and unafraid, roared on.